You don't believe in no fate. Every day
Oh.
digging the grave. Stepping up to what it takes. City of dreams, city of...
Yeah, for me the stream
Hello
will
and
lag
welcome
quite a
to
bit.
Night City Wire Episode 3, the show from us at CD Projekt Red, where we talk about all things Cyberpunk 2077. In today's episode, we're going to start by taking you on a tour of Night City in a new gameplay video and have a chat with senior level designer Miles.
Alana's coming today on stream apparently.
Yes,
Gangs of
I saw
Night
that. She
City
mentioned
in
it on her
another
channel
new
where she
gameplay
revealed
video.
that she's doing
She's
this.
also an NPC.
NPC, yeah.
Then before we finish today's episode, we're going to give you a look at some of the incredible finalists in our PC case modding contest. And we have some information that PC players have been waiting to hear. So
There we
let's
go.
get started. It's time to take you on a tour of Night City.
System requirements are coming out today.
Yes, very excited to hear about that.
I found this exact theme on Streamlabs.
Oh, okay.
Hi there. New to Night City? It's not so bad here.
How we feeling today? Because I feel amazing.
The food. The Thai on 7th and Haywood. The pierogies down by the docks.
Our home. Our pride. And as always, your business is my business.
And this is your world news update.
Man, 1 month is long.
I fail to believe that this is exactly how the game's gonna look. But I know for a fact that this is exactly what the game's gonna look like.
Endless possibilities. And endless lies. We are fucked, America. And I don't know how we're gonna fix it.
The homeless population in Night City has risen by 300%.
Crime in Night City is now double the rate than in the new United States.
So not far off.
It's quite close to the
Very
reality,
close.
isn't it?
I mean, except for the cool
Oh my
cybernetic
God.
shit. But
Oh my god. Oh my god, look at the rain.
rain.
That's a fight this city won't let you win. On your own, you're fucked.
You know,
Hey, that was
there was this original time when we thought that Cyberpunk in third person would be better than first person, but now I can't think of it beyond first person.
Yeah, I feel like that's because of their strong
City.
first-person
What does
marketing.
it mean to you?
Yeah.
Also-
How well do you know its history? Who was Richard Knight? How many stations are in the NCART system? Which city district boasts the best burrito in town? The answers
Oh, I
to
wanna
these
know.
questions and more can be found at the address at the bottom of your screen. Check it out and fall in love with Night City all over again.
What are the odds that's an actual URL?
That's
works?
probably a real website. I was just gonna say that. I'll be disappointed if it's not a real URL. Because they've put in so much work. That's probably part
Into
of it.
making this game so real, it's yeah.
Okay, the hype never
One-
dies.
Since Night City is
Yeah,
one
1
of our
month.
stars of this episode, there is actually quite a lot to talk about. So let's start at the beginning. How did Night City come to be? Because yes, it exists in the world of the tabletop, but how do you take that and make what we've got now?
Well, yeah, as you can imagine, making a city that is as big and complex as Night City is quite the ambitious project. First off, we sat down and we were really considering what is it that we wanted to do with Night City. In a way, Night City is the star of Cyberpunk, right? It is one of its main characters. We wanted to make a city that is very, very believable, right? I mean, the word immersion gets thrown around a lot, but really, we wanted you to be able to dive into it and feel like this is a
I saw
real
some
place.
film posters there. I believe you can like
We also wanted to
walk into a
Walk
cinema
into-
and watch a movie or two.
so that exploring Night City will always be fun, right? There's no point in making a city that is all sameish, and you know it doesn't really matter where you go
This
because
has got
once you've been to one
heavy
district, you feel like you've been
NSFW
to all.
themes to this
Oh,
one.
yeah, yeah.
We first off, started
Too
taking
much.
a
Gotta
look
keep the
at
parents out.
real-life geography that Night City is located on, and that would be on the coast of California. Knowing that Night City would be a coastal city gave us a bit of insight into what we would expect from the city layout. You'd expect the port, you'd expect huge industrial areas that would facilitate this kind of trade that you would assume a city of this type would have with the world. And then we went through and actually divided the city into several districts, 6 of them, and some of them are based on the original lore. We decided to give their own characteristics in terms of architecture, their demographics, the kind of people that would live there, and also the function within the city. Each of these districts, in turn, we divided into further sub-districts, which we further characterized using the more grand theme of the larger district. This process, I think, has resulted in a city that feels quite alive, has a lot of character, where each district feels like its own distinct zone without feeling separated from the larger picture. And that results in something that
Still
allows
can't
the player
get over
to
the
easily
fact that
navigate
lighting has
even
really taken
the
a leap.
complex concrete jungles.
I know, right?
Simply by looking
This is
around and
so
always
impressive.
having a rough idea where you actually are.
But Night City is clearly so different from anything we've ever created with The Witcher. Can you give us some idea about, or some insight into just how big and like how densely packed Night City really is?
Yes, so I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that Night City is easily the most complex thing that I or the others have worked on. The city is super organic, right? It's not like a chessboard layout, but the layout of the city is crazy, and you can tell that it grew in phases, right? Where buildings have been built on top of each other, and I guess the mega buildings that we have showcased are a great example of this. You'll actually see that they are located on some kind of pillar, you know, and then expand outside and then up high into the sky. And underneath it, you'll have space for other buildings. This yields a lot of interesting experiences when it comes to exploration. And that's the one thing I'm most excited about for players to experience. We've been saying that our exploration is super vertical, right? But what this really means is that it changes the way you explore the city. Compared to our previous games, you won't be able to easily set out on a target in the distance, right? You won't be able to say, oh, there's a castle on a hill over there, I'll try to get there, and then you'll be lost on the way. But here it's much more intimate, much more moment to moment. You might be roaming the cities and get a call by your fixer who informs you about a job nearby that you might be able to do, right? Or you find an alleyway and you walk down one of the many alleyways that the city has to offer, and it's always a surprise. You don't know if you might stumble upon some gangers hanging out that are up to no good. Sometimes, and these are the moments that I often get surprised with, you even stumble upon the odd elevator that is meant to connect parts of the, you know, different layers of the city. And it's quite astonishing sometimes to see where you come out when you enter one of these and, you know, find that, oh, this is actually how it connects to the world.
In
That's
terms
crazy.
of
And now
scope,
I'm here, and now I know there's a shortcut that I can
this
take.
is,
And again,
by what he's
this
saying,
all serves
it's
to really enhance
magnificent.
this sense of wonder that we all come
If they
to
pull this off,
I foresee getting lost a lot in this game.
Yep.
I mean, you guys have really brought
The way he's talking about it, yeah.
I really want to make a point of that. It is a living, breathing city. So as a level designer, can you give us some insight into the little touches that you guys have made? Because I hear you guys have even been placing rubbish by hand.
Oh yes, we've been placing quite a bit of rubbish, and that's certainly one of the more glorious parts of being a level designer or an environment artist, where you get to litter the streets that you've spent time building with the garbage. But it's details such as this that we find really important.
Aliens kidnapped my wife. Do you see that signboard?
We take great pride in the process of making this, right? We have a lot of fun actually placing all of what we call mini stories, right? These are little encounters that you can find when you simply walk along the streets. Of course, we have huge quests, right? Side quests. We have lots of side activities that you can do.
I have a feeling like
but it always
literally
is nice to just kind of
every
stop down for a minute
person
and take a
or
look at your
fifth person who
surroundings,
plays this
that
will
we
have
so
a
lovingly
similar
created,
but
and try
not
to
same
see
experience.
if there maybe isn't something
Which goes to say that like
detect
literally
it
everyone will
for.
have
Now,
something
one other
different
thing that
happening
I
in their
think
place.
Something different happening.
is also the fact that we
Definitely the
have,
sequencing will be different.
Oh,
Definitely. Jig Street, wow. It's so neon punk, man, this game.
They want you to visit by sort of referring to the street names, but also you will be able to talk to your friends about it in that way, right? Have you been to Poplar Street in Japantown, for example? And I think this is a small detail, but the philosophy that we have with these kind of things is that, you know, many, many small things contribute to the sum of it, which is hopefully then you being able to explore a city that you feel is truly alive and that you haven't been experiencing before.
Well, Miles, thank you so much for giving us your
And
insight.
the way
I
he
suppose
described
when
like
the game launches,
getting lost
you could
and
be an official Night
the
City
gameplay
tour guide
approach.
instead, right?
I might be,
Sort of. Just for a split second, I was like, oh, it's like Dishonored.
Might retire and become a tour
It does feel like that.
Yeah,
I did
there's multiple
envision like
If you are tuning in late, or if you just want to watch anything again, we will be uploading everything to our channels soon. Now, from the 6th Street to the Valentinos, it's time to introduce you to the gangs of Night City.
and this is the high point. Man, this audio, this soundtrack though.
The soundtrack is bomb. Do we know of any of the gangs so far?
Yes, there are 6 of them or 7 of them. That's like high
How
profile,
things work in Night City. Stronger survive.
and each has like
That's
its
how things stand.
Thing going on.
quirks and eccentricities and whatnots. Yeah.
Didn't see in a city that lets you
Wow.
get by without buddies.
Be very careful, my friend. We are all so far from home.
Which gang's the city's biggest and baddest, according to the NCPD?
Scavs hold the body count title. Or Maelstrom
Wow.
on the season.
One time, a Maelstrom ganger killed a young kid right in front of my eyes for shits and giggles. Sucking psychos. And who the fuck are you to say what can and can't be? I'm gonna introduce you to our meat grinder. About time we had some fun! Think Maelstrom never forgets? Never! I hate these Borg fuckers.
Maelstrom, this feels like one psycho bunch of
Yep.
I'll take the Valentino.
murderous maniacs or
For
something.
Borderlands 3
God
Psychos.
and the Santa Madre. Honor means something to him.
How'd you meet Jackie?
We started out together.
In the Valentinos?
No, in the fucking Bible book club.
I gotta give style points to the Valentinos. They have a punishment for every occasion.
Gangster life, puto! Quick shout out to everyone in Haywood and Santo Domingo. Lately,
like-
the Valentinos and
this is like a
6th Street have had
cyberpunk
bigger
cartel,
road to
basically.
Yeah, I was just thinking that that was a little stereotypical of them.
Can't fucking stand Tinos?
I've dealt with 6th Street before. We do the run, they'll transfer the cred.
Come on, let's go before 6th Street shows up. Shot! 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 Any more Second Amendment fans in the house, huh?
Hate those bastards. Vomit lofty patriotic bullshit all day.
This is the MRA.
Bring on the future.
Any idea how many attacks were behind the Black Wall we neutralized? If the Voodoo Boys breach the Black Wall, we'll all be fucked.
Voodoo Boys. Urban myth, I thought.
No, not the MRA.
Net
The ones
runners
who work for
spooking
guns
each other.
rights.
That gang.
You know, I heard a few things about you. Voodoo Boys, best runners in town.
You do not steal from the Voodoo Boys. I see you, always. For them, Pacifica's just Haiti 2.0. Their own island, cut off from the rest of the city.
This is our turf, our home. Until last week, the animals crawled in.
Animals are the craziest fucking gang in the city.
Breaker Sky!
Animals aren't the play here, are they? They're hired muscle. Someone else needed them.
These are like some mercenary,
You fucked the gang.
macho mercenary kind of. What the fuck is that?
Very obvious.
See how this works now?
Too extreme.
My
What the?
husband
Oh, there's one more.
very high in the tiger claws. They did what made the best eddies. Sold sex and black market tech.
See a lot of time.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
Don't know what else they do well. Break the knees of people who ask questions.
Gotta do something. Shut the fuck up. The tigers will kill us.
Come on, baby.
There's more. What?
Oh, this is Harley Quinn and the gang.
People took matters into their own hands.
Oh my god.
Folk went
This is
ballistic.
awesome.
Girls,
Holy shit.
pimps, outcasts, the whole freak show. It's how the Mox got started.
Like you're some kind of gang group now, huh?
Us Moxes have each other's back. We look out for one another. You looking for some company tonight?
How'd you hook up with the Mox?
I thought Susie and the gang could really change something in this city.
Mans don't seem so different. Both seem to yammer a lot about community, solidarity. Tell me about the Badlands. Not much going on out here, huh?
Au contraire.
This is an ecosystem. Nomads,
There's more?
Shiv, corporations, and drifters, they form a...
This doesn't fucking end, does it?
Remove
What
one
the
part,
fuck? There's another.
it's balanced top.
I think this is like a
I'm
nomadic
losing
tribe.
my shit. I think I counted 8 gangs.
There are 8. This is the 8th one, I think.
Family or the outside world?
This family will go to hell and back.
Everyone in this city lives in their own bubble, and either you fly high or sink into quicksand.
There's more gangs than districts in this game.
Matthew, thank you so much for joining us.
Gang dispute, I guess we'll be seeing that.
Really excited to give people
what if you can actually like pit gangs versus each other, you know, like that kind of a dynamic.
If there's anything short of
I
that,
enjoy them a lot as well
this
in our
game's
game.
trash.
I think they're very cool.
But let's start then.
That'll be
with the
crazy.
role
That will
they
be
play,
crazy.
because gangs really do
Role
play
of gangs.
a prominent
Yeah,
role
let's see.
in Night City, correct?
Yes, definitely. The gangs, they rule the streets of Night City. You know, they have the newest cyberware, they have the newest weaponry, and they are really a power that everyone needs to take into account when they are thinking of operating in Night City. You will encounter them as you explore the city, of course, but also as you complete main quests, side quests, different jobs for the fixers. Sometimes you might even get hired by them.
But then, I suppose everybody's thinking then, can you join a gang?
Well, V is a merc, and mercs of Night City are this unique, distinct group that stick mostly to themselves, right? And they get jobs from variety of factions. They can get jobs from corporations, they can get jobs from gangs, they can get jobs from
That looks like
different
third-person
kind of
gameplay,
like
to be
influential
honest.
clients. Because of this, nobody will ever trust a merc to be one of them, right? And the gangs are no exception here. They are looking only for like people that they know will be loyal to them, right? And that they will fight for their cause all of the time, not just some of the times when it's profitable to them. So because of this, V will mostly stick to the afterlife. And the afterlife are this group of mercs, this legendary group of mercenaries in Night City. They get the best jobs, they get the most money, the best clients, and so on. So if you want to become a legend in Night City, you are going to the afterlife.
So we've obviously mentioned distinct
That's
style.
an
So
eerie
does
name
that
for a
mean there are
pub.
kind of special gang-themed weapons and items and clothing for players to find and use?
Yes, definitely. There are different vehicles that you can drive, for example. There are cars, there are motorbikes. Then, of course, there are different pieces of clothing themed after gangs. There are weapons and so on. So, yeah, definitely there are things to look
Swords,
forward to.
katanas.
I suppose as somebody who's spent as much time as you have kind of getting to know the gangs, I have to ask, which is your favorite and why?
So I would have to say probably Maelstrom, simply because they have this unique, distinct feel and this weird aesthetic about them. So the idea about Maelstrom is they are people who want to cross the boundary between the machine and human, right? They are changing so much of their body with cyberware that they no longer look human, really. On top of that, they are also very unpredictable.
They don't.
It's difficult to say what they will do at any point when you meet
That's
them.
straight out of a horror
At
film.
one moment, they can be shaking hands with you, and at the other moment, you know, they will pull gun out on you, and they bring in this element of chaos into the game, which I really enjoy personally.
Oh, Matty, thank you so much for joining us. It's always interesting to learn what your favorite gang is. I think it kind of tells me a little bit about you.
Oh, does it? What does it say about me?
She's calling him out.
We'll talk about that later. But for now, before we wrap up today's episode, we asked
She's
for
like,
your
you're the raving lunatic.
creativity and
That's
design
it?
a PC
Yeah.
case mod,
Seems like that
Cyberpunk style.
she said wrapping up,
Our
so.
panel of judges selected 5 finalists, and we teamed them up with professional case modders to bring their concept to reality.
This will be
What's happening?
PC case modding competition.
Oh.
Yep.
These 5 amazing designs will be fighting for the main prize, an Alienware Aurora PC, along with other awesome gaming peripherals. Brought to you by our partners, Alienware, Nvidia, and SteelSeries. Let's see the mods.
Okay. All right.
Holy shit.
I absolutely love this one.
What the fuck? That can't be a PC.
Works with each other.
Absolutely next level. Honestly, kind of terrifying.
How is this real?
Exactly the type of thing I would expect to find at a trade show.
It really looks like it could have come straight out of the game.
Oh my god, that's wild, dude. What the fuck is that? Oh my god. God damn it. Give me that. Give me that
To
mod.
watch the full PC case
Two
modding
extreme
video
modes.
and to get more information about when the winning design will be available on charity auction, stay tuned to our social media
Ooh.
channels.
Okay.
Looking at those
Wow, that's
PC
good.
case mods, it reminds me that we do have one more thing to review.
System requirements,
If you're going to
please.
be playing Cyberpunk 2077 on PC when it launches this November, we do have some specs to share that I think some of you have been waiting for. The minimum system
Understatement.
requirements for Cyberpunk are a Windows 7 or 10 PC, an Intel Core i5 3570K
EX12, okay.
or
Not bad.
AMD FX 8310.
Okay.
8 gigs of RAM and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780 or an AMD Radeon RX 470. In the storage department, the game will take up roughly 70 gigs of space, and although it will run off a HDD, we do recommend an SSD. As for the recommended specs,
That's the
in
catch.
green,
This is where
we're
it
talking
goes.
An Intel Core i7 4790 or AMD Ryzen 3 3200G.
Okay.
12 gigs of RAM and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 or AMD Radeon R9 Fury.
Not bad.
That
Not
is
bad, not too bad.
surprisingly
Joining us
low.
for episode 3
That's not too
of
bad,
Night
yeah.
City Wire.
No, because
Don't forget that if you've missed anything or if you
Look at
just
the
want to
game
watch again, we
and
will
look at
be
the
updating
requirements.
everything
That's
to
pretty
our
good.
channels.
That's,
Dude, I can
I'm
run
not
this on my
complaining. I'm game.
970.
With episode
I'm
4.
cool with this. I'm really cool with this.
You folks
So
with
episode 4
RTX
confirmed.
cards are going to lose their shit when you look at these fucking graphics
Yeah.
on like ultra.
I'm probably gonna like come out of my bedroom after like 3 weeks and be like sporting like a grey beard and like.
Why is there natural
like
light?
random-
Why is there no
there'll be
neon
like-
anymore?
There'll be like random chips of like Lay's and Cheetos in my hair somewhere. That's the embodiment of what's gonna be like after the end of November, probably.
You probably.
I
really good.
They did mention that they're gonna be revealing a little bit more about the music and the soundtrack in the next episode, probably. So they had plans to do it this one in this episode, but they plan to push it, some scheduling issue or something of that sort. So
Awesome. This was
Interesting.
good though. This was surprisingly good. Did you notice
This was-
the third person parts? So that threw me off a little bit.
yes,
Because-
I did notice that.
Right? Because there were a lot of sequences where the character was walking away from the camera. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fine. Your character is probably following them.
Right.
But it was when the character turned around and walked towards the camera and the camera panned with them. That's when I was like, did they add in a third person that they're not making very obvious, or is that just another perspective from
I thought you had the option of watching the cinematic sequences in third person. I'm not sure though.
Okay.
Why do I get the sense that this was always a part of the plan? You can play the game in first person only,
Okay.
but I don't think you can. I think you can switch between. It's like the classic RPG, right? Even GTA or whatever it is. When you're like you have like multiple views when you're driving a car or riding a bike, you can just like tap C or V and your camera
The
pans
cinematic
out or your
changes,
camera
yeah.
zooms out. Yeah, the camera angle zooms out or pans in, whatever it is. And then there's a first person view for that also. So I think first person is default. I'm pretty sure the vehicles will have that sense of you can control it from any angle that you want, right? Just like GTA style, you can just change the camera angle and change the cinematic view. And I think the moment you like dismount your vehicle or like exit your vehicle, it probably goes back into first person in gameplay.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's going to be done.
Seems very, very. I mean, that seems like the most obvious approach based off of what we've seen so far.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be those cinematic sequences where you get to really probably choose what kind of a camera angle you want to watch them from. I know that there are some games where you can actually, I think Red Dead is one of them, right? Where you can literally like as a cinematic sequence starts. Of course, Red Dead almost lets you take control of a cinematic camera as well.
Yeah.
But I think there are some games where you get like prompts on the screen where you can like change the camera angle if you want.
Metal Gear Solid, the old Metal Gear Solid
Metal
games
Gear
do that.
Solid, yeah. There are some games that I remember that have that kind of a
They do have
prompt
that
system where you simply like, okay, you get like some kind of a visual prompt and you tap the key or you press the button on your controller and the camera angle changes and gives you like a different perspective or a different perspective of the entire scene.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
that's one
I'm not sure. Does Red Dead have the thing with where you switch the camera angle, or if you're playing in first person, for like example, and if in-game cutscene or cinematic plays, does it put you in third person? Like, does it give you a different angle, or does it keep you in first person?
So as far as I remember, when I was playing Red Dead on PC, there was a you can keybind a particular button. For me, it was X. I remember, which if you while you're like riding a horse, for example, in the wilderness, and if you press X, it sort of becomes like a cinematic camera mode where it literally goes on top and it shows you riding, and it can goes through a different angle, shows you riding further along, and then you can tap X back again and go back to your original camera view.
Yep.
I actually forgot that Red Dead gave you both options of third person and first person. I literally forgot that. And I just like I can never imagine now that I've played Red Dead in like third person camera, I cannot imagine playing it in first person. It sounds weird. I mean, I'd have to probably get used to it if that is the case. And the reverse has probably happened with Cyberpunk, where you remember initially when they spoke about the camera angle of Cyberpunk and they said it's going to be a first person RPG and not the classic Witcher third person RPG kind of a style. They did get a lot of flack for it. A lot of people who were not comfortable with the change probably just sort of came out and said, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? And why are you breaking the Witcher formula, which is already proven to be, well, so good, so successful? And after seeing so much of hype and so many videos and so much gameplay and so many trailers and whatever not, I can't imagine Cyberpunk in third person anymore for some reason. It just feels... I think they've done what they set out to do. They promised that the first person will be worth it from the immersion perspective, and I really think they mean it. I think they mean business. I can't imagine this in third person anymore. I don't care how long I'm going to spend customizing my character anymore. Cool, I'll customize my character, but I want to be in that first person view and on the face experience what this world is like and what the gameplay is like. I think that's what's really enticing me.
Yeah, I sort of agree, because immersion can be thrown at you in many ways, right? And I think they have fine-tuned our senses to their thinking as well at this point.
Yep.
So every little detail you look at from first person is going to look accentuated. So now that they've gotten you so hyped for that first person level of detail, going back to third person is not going to be...
Yeah, it doesn't sound enticing anymore. Yeah,
it does sound enticing to me, because I feel like I like spending time on my character and I like to admire what I've created. So Mass Effect 3 for me was really fun. Outer Worlds, on the other hand, I spent a lot of time customizing my character and you can only see them in an idle animation. So that was a bit disappointing. It's not a game breaker.
Bit of a bummer, yeah.
It's not a game breaker.
It's not. It never really is, in that sense. I remember even Fallout had the same thing where I spent so much time, and I mean, of course, Skyrim. How can you forget Skyrim? Skyrim and Fallout had those moments where you literally spent hours and hours, face, eyebrows, ears, nose, lips, whatever the fuck you want to do, and then you end up wearing a helmet and it conceals everything. It makes absolutely no sense that you spend so long customizing your character. Yeah, man. I mean, and I think that's the merit of doing something in first person in this case, because the time that you spend investing in the character will come to fruition when you actually have those moments of cinematic cutscenes or whatever you want to call it, right? Where in between like intense moments of gameplay, when suddenly like it flashes between probably you being in control to the game taking control of your experience, and those moments is when your personalization and character customization will probably shine through the most, right? I think that's what's the other game that did this very well, although I haven't played it, Ghost of Tsushima, right? There was this the opening, the title sequence, the bit just before the title sequence which I told you about, which blew my mind away, where it's the camera, the game is controlling the camera and it's controlling the horse, right? You think you're in control, but then you just like at the outskirts of the forest, and then boom, and it opens, and you're on the fields with the flowers, and the title sequence comes up. Sucker Punch presents whatever, and then you realize, oh, I'm actually in control of the game
This
right
is
now.
where I'm in control. Yeah.
This is where I'm in control of the game, and I think that's what I sort of get a sense of is going to happen with Cyberpunk. I think that's what's going to be happening. That the game will take control away from you in those moments of like high octane emotion and drama and tension and whatever you want to call it, and then and it'll like when it's done, it's like here abruptly they'll give you control all over again.
I like that because it makes sure that the player is immersed. It makes sure that you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And I think it's just very cool when the developers know how
I'll
to
be surprised if I lose like attention in this kind of a game. I mean, it's cool. I can't imagine my attention getting like distracted by something like this. The way I'm looking at it, I think it's going to be hard to sort of like snap out of the.
I'm gonna have post-its for stuff now. I'm just gonna put post-its everywhere in my room. Like, okay, that guy, that fixer called me. He wants to buy some drugs, and then this guy needs someone dead, and then that person said she'll buy me 3 drinks if I go kill someone. I don't know. Just it's gonna be crazy. Just keeping track of everything, and with the kind of variety that they're claiming to put in there, it's how did they pull this off?
One thing that did like strike me off as it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a game breaking aspect, so to speak, but I'm pretty sure, and I think they've mentioned this before, that this map is a lot smaller in terms of square meters, literally. But the difference which I talked about and they re-emphasized today is the verticality of it, right? And I think that's going to be a big deal breaker because I feel that if we don't have that Dishonored-esque experience where you have multiple ways to approach a location for a mission, for example, we know that there are multiple ways to achieve your objective. That's clear already. They've mentioned that to us n number of times, right? You can choose the brute force path, you can choose the hacking path, you can choose the stealth, robbery, whatever. We already know that there are multiple ways to achieve the objective. But to further accentuate that, I think they need to definitely, and I'm sure they're taking this into consideration, add the multiple, ways of actually playing out a particular level design for a particular mission. Like, can I go into this ventilation shaft, or do I have to take the main entrance, or can I like do something weird like climb the walls and get into a window or something of that sort? I think that's going to be critical to complementing the verticality of it and the multiple choice narrative that they're talking about since so many days. I need to see that, because if, for example, if I feel that stealth is going to be my approach or hacking is going to be my approach, and there's nothing that I can do besides walking through the main door, that's going to be like kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like there should be multiple, like every path needs to have a complementing approach, I feel, for how you actually enter into a particular building or a structure of sorts to get from point A to point B. And I'm pretty sure they'll take that into account. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Sounds
verticality of it.
Sorry. That is very interesting, because to add to what you said, I would like them to make it so that it's fine. Give me X number of skills in a skill tree, specialize the missions based on, like, let me specialize my build based on what mission I'm going to play next. Okay. When I'm in that mission, don't lock me out of opportunities. So say I have hacking and I have strength, 2 arbitrary skills.
Yep.
If I can hack my way through a back door and sneak into a bar and steal something, that's cool. If I want to if I want to brute force my way in through the front door and massacre the entire place, I should be able to do that too. It shouldn't be like, oh, if you've spoken to X person and you want to do Y thing, you're locked out of option A and B.
Yep. The Red Dead, where I think Red Dead Redemption 2 really suffers in that sense, right? Where they don't give you the creative liberty of how you want to actually approach the mission in the middle of the mission itself, right? Yep. It's literally a guided narrative, and I don't think the guided narrative will do justice to the kind of experience that they want to create, and I'm pretty sure they won't offer that kind of a guided narrative. I think they're going to leave it. I think they would want to leave it to the creativity of the player, right? And we might be seeing a lot of really funny interactions coming up on YouTube a couple of days after the game is launched, and they're like, "Hey, did you know you could do this? And you could probably do this with this mod or with this kind of a life path or something of that sort." You know, you're going to see those crazy things.
It's definitely very interesting. When they spoke about verticality, the first thing that came to mind was Final Fantasy VII. Because in the lore of Final Fantasy VII, the city of Midgar is built on plates. And the plates are literally like your class. So the lowest plate is the slums, and then it goes higher and higher. And the topmost plate is Shinra Corporation, or the capitalists. I think there is some inspiration from that. So I'm very excited for that little bit. Because they said this city has been built one on top of the other, which then reminded me of Futurama, where there is a literal mutant city under the actual city of New York. Because New York is now old New York.
Okay.
I'm expecting some fun stuff to come out of that.
Yeah, though I really think that you know they have, and I'm pretty sure that they'll do a good job about it, because since they've committed themselves to that kind of an approach where they've said, hey, we don't want it to be like a dead open world with like just like expanse upon expanse of nothingness, right? I think that's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for an open world which is vast but not necessarily wide, and which is lively but not necessarily huge per se, right? I think that's what the aim really is. Interesting. It's going to be interesting. What do you think about the gangs? What's your take on the gangs that they've shown us? I think there were 8 of them, and I want to hear from you. What do you think?
All of them interesting, few of them stereotypical, but I'm on board as long as they make sense. As long as I can make them fight against each other, like you said. Now that idea is in my head, so I want it.
Yeah.
Like I want the Harley Quinn gang, the Moxes, to go up against the Psychos in Maelstrom, and like that's probably not possible. Who's to say? But they may have interconnected quest lines, because the way they showed us the trailer, it was like, yes, every gang knows that there is X gang in power. And everyone's trying to claim power over Night City because crime is so high right now. This game feels like it's going all out with the gang warfare. I'm very excited.
Is there any did they mention any kind of a gang rep system where or a gang karma system where, for example, if you do good deeds for X gang, it might impact your opportunities that Y gang will present to you? Is that a thing?
The presenter for CDPR said something like, you can work for specific gangs, but there are like gangs like Maelstrom will probably take a call based on your other choices and be with you or betray you.
So those choices are going to impact the way your gangs interact with you in real time, right?
Yeah.
That's because the way I'm looking at it right now, and now that we have a lot more insight into the number of gangs as well in specific, 8 gangs is a lot, because that's a lot of permutations, by the way, where your actions throughout the game with the gang and outside the gangs could negatively or positively impact the way those gangs see you. And we're talking about a lot of gangs over here. We're talking about 8 of them, and it's going to be very the sheer scale of the possibilities is now dawning on me, where you realize that number one, there are 3 life paths which are very distinct, right? That they've told us about. There's the nomad, there's the corporate, and there's the street kid, right? That's going to impact your narrative. Your choices are going to impact your narrative. And that by and of itself is enough for the game to be a diverse experience, a unique experience to a large extent for each individual player. And on top of that, you add these elements like, what you do for what gang, how you sort of respond to, certain missions, and the cascading effect of that on your actual experiences. The possibilities are kind of infinite in that sense. And that's actually insane, right? I don't know. You're going to need so many playthroughs to actually come to like a final, if I do this is what this gang will do to me, or if I do this is probably the gang's response to my action. It's going to be kind of incredible to see that coming to fruition. It's going to be wild to see how it's going to play on your head. It's going to play on your head. You don't know what the story holds for you. You don't know when you're going to be probably working with the gang as a part of the main storyline. You never know. There might be a main quest line or a main storyline where you got to be doing certain chores or certain jobs for a certain gang. And what if you've pissed off that gang beforehand? And what if that changes the main story narrative?
Yep.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this entire element of gangs and you being a mercenary plays with it. It's going to be crazy.
That is very, very interesting actually. Because now that you mention it, they're considering the scale and scope of this game. There is most certainly going to be some main story quests that put you in conflict or in partnerships with these gangs.
Right.
So having you make your decision then and then having it reflect in the world or reflect on the world state, that makes a lot of sense to me. That way they're sort of soft locking you out of things. It's not like you can't go back and do other stuff, but you've made one choice that could potentially impact the ending. And I bet in like by the time we all four of us on Gamesage have played it, we'll all have a different story to tell.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and that's I think we're going to be having a dedicated Cyberpunk podcast chat talk show where we literally talk about and share the most hilarious and the most extravagant and most memorable moments from this kind of a game, because that's what this game is building up to be. It's building up to be that kind of a you drive your story, you drive your narrative, you're the one in charge, and you decide how the game plays for you. And I think that's the gangs has just sort of accentuated that kind of a story for me, because till now, I mean, we all knew the gangs were there, right? But the way they've positioned this today, each gang having its own, vested interest, each gang having its own objective and its own assertive force in a district of the city, and on top of that, they have their own missions, they have their own quests, and your interaction with them alongside the entire main quest, it's just layers upon layers upon layers of possibility, the way I'm seeing it. And the weapons, that's the fun part. I think they mentioned that each gang has access to specific weapons and specific mods that you realize how crazy it's going to be, where you're going to like play a bit of the game and you're going to be like, fuck, I need this weapon or this kind of weapon that does this, or I need this mod that probably does something that I need like this. And you're going to spend your time off the main quest, just like Skyrim, looking around for that kind of a mod or looking around for that kind of a weapon and thinking like, hey, what if this mod is with this gang? And you like rove into like a new gang's territory and they'll like massacre you or something of that sort. It's gonna be hilarious, because man, 1 month, can't wait anymore. It's like it's getting out of my...
Sorry to disappoint you. It's 2 months.
Oh no, it's 2 months. Oh no. Oh no. But I forgot it's still in September.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could fast forward to November as well.
Oh man.
Very exciting. Very, very exciting. I think the gangs having specific weapons will be a very challenging aspect to modifying individual perspectives on gameplay.
Yeah.
Because if you're in too deep with a gang and man, you're in too deep now, you can't get out. Like,
or if you're in too deep with a particular kind of
build,
like a particular skill tree or a build, right? Suppose I go the hacker route and I don't really invest much in a little bit of the other routes that are presented to us, I might find it difficult to take certain gangs down. I don't see how playing only a hacker route will work versus a Maelstrom, for example, right? Where they rely purely on probably brute force and absolute violence, and I don't know, what if your hacking fails and then they come at you with those big ass guns and you're like, I'm a hacker, I don't know shit, what do we do?
It's very interesting you bring that up, because they're not human as much as you think they are. You could possibly hack into them and make them fight against each other.
To do your fighting for you. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a mod which is going to be like a temporary hack or control, which like,
definitely.
Hey, What's the cheat code for Age of Empires? You belong. There's a cheat code, right?
I don't
You say all your base are belong to us. And then, you basically take control.
all your base belong to us.
Yeah, I think it's something of that sort. I gotta Google this. Hold on. I'm pretty sure there's a cheat code which is like all your base.
I've heard of it. It's more of a meme. I didn't know that was a real thing though.
I think the cheat code is based on this meme where you type in this in, I think, Age of Empires 1 or 2, I'm not sure, but then if you type this, basically something happens. Let me just Google this. All your base are belong to us. Cheat code. It's a Warcraft cheat, is it? Yeah. It is. In Warcraft 3, apparently, if you type in all your base are belong to us, you just insta win the match.
What's the
You just basically insta win.
I mean, I miss cheat codes and all, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen, right? You have like an ultra premium mod, which is like all your base are belong. That could actually be a possibility, by the way. I'm not even joking. Where probably because see something like this where there must be like a central node for each gang or something of that sort, right? Probably where in a particular area, each gang's connected communication is probably routed through from one particular person. And if you hack that person, you get access to everyone's comms and everyone's behavior. You never know. That could be a possibility.
That's a crazy thought, dude. That's great.
Right? Like you bypass everything and you just go and find that one person who has the key to everyone else's neuromods, and you hack him and you ruin him, and everyone else is just flatlines basically.
Is there something you're not telling me? Are you working for CDPR? Have you been part of the level design? Because this is a very cool thought. This is a very cool thought. Also, another thing I think they'll do with the gangs is I noticed a lot of stereotypes, and I will bring that up only not to berate them, but to look at it from this perspective as a gameplay modifier. If you choose a certain race, maybe you'll have an easier time getting along with that race, gang based within that race. Or say if you choose a different gendered character as your main player, maybe you could get into a gang more easily. Maybe if you have, maybe there's a percentage bar and you're 70% over cybernetic and 30% human, it'll be easier for you to get into the maelstrom.
That's a thought. That's a crazy thought. Like the kind of neuromods on why do I keep saying neuromods? Neuromods is prey. With the number of modifications that your body probably has will determine the kind of alliances. That's an interesting thought. Maybe like the more restrained gangs would not be too cool working with a merc that's probably
who
overloaded with cybernetics, probably, or who doesn't have a face. Yeah, and probably a gang like the Maelstrom won't trust you if you're like not cybernetic enough. That's crazy. That's a crazy thought. That's actually a crazy thought.
You never
know.
Like the Moxes were very female centric, so I was like, okay, that's cool. Maybe I want to play a woman now.
Yeah, maybe a woman character will work better in certain cases, and I think there are definitely elements of romance and seduction that are involved, and there are themes of sexuality that are going to be explored. I'm pretty sure that you will be able to leverage that in the game in multiple ways. I'm pretty sure. I mean, they won't have this kind of a game where we saw enough suggestive themes from like so many trailers now. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a thing.
Above that, they've also included a slider for adjusting the size of your junk. So, I mean, if it's in the character creation.
I forgot that one. Oh man. I can't wait for like the voice lines that'll be like, oh hey, you got like some good junk, and it's like actually talking about your weapon, but it's not talking about your weapon. Oh man, that's crazy. That's actually crazy.
I am pretty excited, but I know I have to keep my expectations low because
I think Cyberpunk is one of those games now where, considering all these delays that have happened and considering the number of times that I don't think I've seen a more marketed game in my living memory. I honestly don't. I don't remember a game that has been marketed this much to this extent. Of course, the delays are part of the problem because, well, we wouldn't have so much marketing if there weren't so many delays. But considering the delays, the amount of marketing they've actually done on this game is kind of. I'm pretty sure I've never seen marketing of a game like this before.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the sheer quantum of marketing that they've done for a game before. I can't recollect actually. And I think that could be like that's the double-edged sword that they're sort of playing on, right? Where all this marketing kind of collapses on its own. It's like shooting yourself in the foot, right? If your marketing doesn't live up to your expectation, and well, if you don't have a good experience on launch, you know how Steam reviews are going to come in. They're going to come at you like
Steam and Metacritic. Don't forget Metacritic.
And Metacritic. Oh, of course. So it's going to be it's. I think Cyberpunk have now done enough marketing to sort of, and I'm pretty sure they've got enough time to sort of polish everything that needs polishing and take decisions wherever decisions need to be taken, whether for better or for worse, we shall see. But it'll be kind of disappointing for us to not have a near perfect experience. I mean, bugs, odd glitches, I can understand that they'll probably happen every now and then, like characters getting stuck in like smosh of the wall or some pixels going here and there. But I wouldn't want to say anything game breaking at this point of time because they've promised us so much and they've shown us so much now that anything less than that would be a bummer,
Also 7 years of work, so I mean
7 years, yeah.
Today it felt like we saw where the 7 years went.
Yeah, and I appreciate it now.
Yeah, we've gotten a glimpse of everything. We've gotten a glimpse of combat and weapons in the previous trailer. Now we know what the world is like. So I think it's the marketing hasn't been special. Like it might not be a good move for consumers, but it is a great move for them because they're still going to get all the millions and millions of sales on day one. Most people, they've made their money already.
I guess, yeah, they've probably made their money through pre-orders. I'm pretty sure everyone who's probably played The Witcher, hey, don't look at me. Everyone who's probably played The Witcher has probably pre-ordered Cyberpunk by now.
And
right.
probably
I'm pretty
even
confident.
not. Because like I have friends who dislike the medieval genre altogether. So games like Skyrim and The Witcher are just not in their ballpark. But they look at Cyberpunk and they're like, that is neon, that has guns, that has multiple storylines, cool city, other stuff I can just get lost in. That's fun. That looks good to me. Very modern. I'm like, yeah, and those people have spent on it just like I have in the first week. So not going to be surprised.
It's not going to be surprised. I'm pretty sure they must have crossed like a certain threshold of copies already. I'm pretty sure like 100,000, 200 copies probably already pre-ordered. That's what I would safely say, in my opinion. Safely, And I'm sure there'll be some people who will probably. When is the PS5 releasing? 2 days before this, I believe.
No, a day after. Oh no, November 18th, right? This is November 18th. That's November 19th. Or 12th if you look at the
Cyberpunk is November 17th.
Right.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is November 17th
PS5
and the PS is November 19th. Right. So I think there'll be like a spike on the PS5 day as well.
Yep.
Where people be like, hey, I've just picked up the console. I might as well pick up the game along with it. And besides the digital, I think that's when the physical copies will spike. And Christmas, I can see a big spike happening again.
Yep.
The folks that have probably spent on a PS5 and they're like, okay, that's it, wallet, RIP. Now see you in Christmas. And they'll buy the game in Christmas. I think between like the span of November, between now and like whatever we have till now and the end of the year, I think we'll easily touch 250,000 copies for this game sold. I'm pretty confident. And that's a lot. That's crazy.
Is a lot. I think it'll be around 4 or 5 million. Like if The Last of Us on one console could sell that much, The Last of Us Part 2. On one console.
How much did The Last of Us sell?
I'm not very sure of the numbers. I think we can pull it up. It sold quite a bit. I think it sold 4.7, if I'm not wrong.
Last of Us copies sold. I need to check this out.
In
4 million copies.
Yeah. That is a lot.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that we'll see at least 250,000 to probably 500,000 by the time the year is out. And the next 1 year will sort of be like
them building on that.
Yeah, incremental. We have the DLC. Let's not forget they've told us that the DLC is coming. that's
I don't know if
that's
that's
not to be forgotten.
Yeah, I don't know if that should intimidate me or make me feel happy because there's already so much overwhelming content in this.
That'll depend entirely on how the game goes, right? I mean, if the game goes as promised, well, I don't see a reason why if the game is good enough, we won't buy the DLCs. I'm pretty sure I've heard Ravi and Indrani talk for hours and hours on end for about Blood and Wine and what's the other one? Hearts of Stone.
Hearts of Stone.
Right.
Yep.
I think they've said that the expansions are just phenomenal and they just elevate the game to a different experience. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure we are going to be in for that for Cyberpunk as well. I would be surprised if it didn't deliver on that front. Maybe they'll add a gang or two. Maybe they'll add
a new district,
or they'll add some funky new
weapons, mods. There's
circumstance in the
so
game
much.
itself. You never know. Yeah, there's so much that can be done.
And then there's the branching stuff in that.
And the branching stuff in that.
Again, very overwhelming for me. So we'll wait and watch.
Yeah,
we'll wait and play.
We shall wait and watch. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. 2 months.
2 months out. We're in 2020. Tanay, this is running on, and we'll wrap up after this because I think we're getting close to the end. This thing is going to run on GTX 1060 Ti's, I think. Did they say Ti?
Yeah, I think they said Ti.
Yep.
I'm not sure though.
That's the recommended requirement.
That's pretty good. I think the requirements were pretty solid. 70 GB is close to the nature of what I thought. That I honestly expected 50 to 80 GB would be where they would probably be fitting. It's good that they said very clearly, SSD is what they would recommend because I do think that the level of immersion will get hampered by load times if your HDD is not able to keep pace with the game itself. There's a lot to render in the game, just from the lighting and the ambience and the textures and the characters. I think there's a lot to render, and I think SSD is going to be like a big determining factor to decide how seamless the experience really is. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the requirements. They seem they're not bloated. They're pretty fair. The minimum requirements are crazy low. The recommended requirements are also quite good. I don't see why someone with a 1050 or 1060 would not be able to play this comfortably on a high with like maybe a couple of things turned off, but it seems pretty doable. Yeah, exciting stuff.
I'm surprised. I am thoroughly surprised because
I am all set. I'm going to be flexing. This is my yellow keyboard. My yellow backlit keyboard is ready for Cyberpunk. It coincides nicely with the Gamesage color scheme too, by the way.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, I'm cool.
So, Night City Wire 4, what do you expect before we close off?
What did they say we should expect? Music, I think?
I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing the
characters?
music. We're going to be seeing, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more about the music. I expect some amount of insight into probably the automobiles and the driving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of left out. But I think that's what we're going to be seeing. And I think I think the next Night City Wire is going to be like the
last one.
They
can't possibly pull off anymore. Then it'll be like a month within release.
Yeah, like it's too much. I think we'll be seeing one in like the middle of October probably. And
yes.
They'll talk about the music. They'll probably have Grimes on screen. Right? That'll be fun. I think that'll be the closure of the marketing campaign for Cyberpunk.
Unless they do a launch event.
event.
Which would be going overboard, honestly, I feel.
Honestly, who's going to see the launch event, right?
Everyone's going to be playing the game.
Who's going to be seeing the launch event? If the game's launching, I'm going to be like, fuck you guys, you do your launch event, I'm doing my launch event.
Yeah.
I'm going to be more concerned with my own launch event, right? I'm just going to be downloading. I just hope they let us like preload the game a couple of days before.
Definitely.
And that'll be like when the clock strikes whatever time it is that it's releasing, you just like
hit play on
hit play
Steam.
and you like tell everyone in your house like fuck off from the room and like
3 more months you
that's
won't
it.
see me.
See you later, guys. See you guys after like Christmas or something of that sort. If I don't answer my phone, don't assume I'm dead.
Also,
Not yet.
Happy New Year in advance.
Happy New Year in advance. Yeah.
All right. It was a
Crazy.
good Night
All
City
right.
Wire.
With that, let us wrap up for this Night City Wire chat, and we shall see you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you.